Um, man, I'm not thrilled I watched Velma. That was a piece of shit.
Well, also with the violence and how sexual they sexualize a lot of the characters. Why the fuck did we make this high
Why?
school?
Why is
Yeah,
this set in a high
yeah,
school? That whole
yeah,
opening shower scene,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
like
Yep.
Nick had pointed out of like now as you watch the opening of the show, Les, remember they are not meeting in college. They are meeting
Yeah,
in high school.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
weird.
hopefully they're 18, but probably not.
Hopefully.
Episode 419 of the TV Dudes, recorded January 18th, 2023. Last of Us. This week, it's the best reviewed show of 2023 so far, Last of Us on HBO Max. Plus, we've got our thoughts on the worst reviewed show of 2023 so far, Velma, also on HBO Max. Before we get to all that, I'm Randy,
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
and we're the TV Dudes. HBO Max had quite the week.
Yeah, they're just covering all their bases.
Yeah, they've been talked about.
It-
That's
it's
nice.
really like the best video game adaptation reviewed thing, and then like the thing everyone in the world unanimously seems to hate.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well let's jump into our let's jump into our appetizers to start with. Um, I'll go first this week. I watched a few things. I caught up on Star Wars Bad Batch. Season 2 of that came out. Been really enjoying it. I'm sure you guys are super into it, but we'll wait until you've seen the whole season before we talk about it.
Oh
'Cause I
yeah,
know
yeah.
I know you guys are hardcore batch heads, so
It was really tough not to stay up all night. I mean, that's why I delayed the start of the
If there's
episode tonight.
anything that I'm hoping Last of Us does is calm down Pedro Pascal of like, look, you're in a prestige show and they see your face all the time. So don't stop taking your helmet off in Mandalorian because that's the only Star Wars thing I watch and the only thing I care about.
Like,
we did.
like the whole Star Wars universe hinges on one thing for Nick, one show.
It's really it's a tenuous line.
We
Like, you
did
guys
get
can do anything you fucking want. Like, all of the midichlorians you want, all of it. You just got to keep the helmet on in Mando, and Nick's cool.
we did get that trailer for season 3. I don't know if y'all watched that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I did. It was again pretty. It looks like he's actually teaching the kid about Mandalorian ways, which I
Yep.
think is pretty cool. Obviously, we'll never see Grogu like actually grow up. Well, not in the show because Mando would be far dead.
I
But
I think you just said the kid casually, but I really now want them to age up the nickname. Like, let's just own that we're never going to call him Grogu. Like, that ship
yeah,
has sailed, Disney.
Hidiogo,
Fucking stop it. Or
Hidiota.
whatever. Yeah. Just seriously, just like, I want him to graduate from the child to the kid to there'll be a period of that asshole you know,
I want to
mhm.
give him the whole Groot treatment.
yeah, like, you know, because his teen years, which is going to be like a century or two, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
At least, yeah, it's just going to be like, oh, that asshole.
Um, I watched 3 more episodes of News Radio season 4, which it's interesting. News Radio, John Lovitz famously replaces Bill McNeil in the last season, and John Lovitz had played 2 other characters before that happens. And I mean, and big characters. Like he's the mental patient that's there when Bill goes into the mental hospital in season 3, and then he is the guy who's trying to commit suicide by jumping off the ledge in season 4. Like notable guest stars, and there's no mention made of it that it's the
No,
same
there's
guy
just a lot of dudes that look like that.
and sound like that.
is that a thing that happened in previous TV, but I just never noticed? Because ever since CW started to do it, I've like noticed of
Right?
oh no, I don't care that this actress already played another thing on here.
No, they
Somebody
clearly
brought up
don't care.
the Tommy Westfall universe to me again this week, and got me thinking about that. And now I want a list of like all of the canonical. How do you no prize explain how this actor is 4 people on this show?
Oh,
Because like, god damn it, they're the same person.
the, I think maybe did no one care about it until the MCU introduced continuity to the mainstream?
I
I think that's
I
entirely
yeah.
possible. Yeah.
The other
Okay.
day, I read an article about Dwayne McDuffie from back in the day about how like comics don't need like his radical belief on lack of continuity. That like each comic has its own continuity. Don't fucking worry about it. People can guest star. It doesn't matter.
He's not wrong.
Season 4 also introduces Lauren Graham as the efficiency expert, and she's a delight. I love her in that show. I caught up on Ghosts, which still really fun. I went to the theater to see M3 again, which I highly recommend y'all see. The closest comparison I can make is it felt to me like what I loved about Upgrade. And the interesting thing to me about this was when everyone I've told this, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen Upgrade.
Yeah, that's the shame there too, is that Upgrade is the better version of Venom that came out 3 months before Venom,
Yeah.
but no one's
Upgrade's
seen
great,
Upgrade.
and no one's seen it, and that's crazy to me because it's so good.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing that in the theater and it just being empty and me going, "What the fuck? Come on now."
With not Tom Hardy, the Tom Hardley.
Yeah,
Logan
yes,
Marshall
that
Green.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I was in a comments section. A friend of mine started watching BoJack Horseman, and I mentioned offhandedly, "Oh yeah, I love BoJack Horseman. I've never seen season one." And I was attacked viciously by a friend of a friend. She was like, What is wrong with you? Why haven't you
What?
watched season one?"
You
And
piece of shit.
I was like, I don't know. I heard rough reviews, so I never watched it, and then I started with season two, and I never went back to it. And
Even
she's
though
like,
I've heard
"You must."
consensus is that season 1 isn't as good as the other seasons, is that it takes a while
So
to settle in.
that's what I've heard. So I went and watched season one. That consensus is bullshit. BoJack is the same show from episode one all the way to the end.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a good. It was a good show. I'm glad I finally watched season one. It was kind of nice to have new episodes, and I'll probably just burn through and rewatch the rest. But no, whoever told me whatever Rotten Tomatoes consensus told me that BoJack Horseman season one wasn't worth it is full of shit. Because
What's
BoJack
this
season
show?
one is great. It's got a horse and he's a man.
I've watched like 4 episodes of BoJack Horseman and I've enjoyed each one, and every time it's been a like fine, click. Oh yeah, this is great. Why don't I watch this show? And then like a month will go by and like, you want to watch a BoJack episode?
Because it is
I
like
don't.
less the for me it is, and I've not finished it either. And the problem is that it every once in a while, it's kind of like why I still haven't finished Physical, is because God, sometimes this is a little too close to home, a little too triggering for
I get
like
I get that.
like
I get that.
depression and suicidal thoughts and like
But
really
it does
dark
have
stuff.
character actor Margot Martindale.
Yes. Les, I'm not falling for this again. I know that in like 6 months, you're going to be on this podcast being like, "Yeah, I binged all BoJack Horseman. You guys heard of this show? I'm not falling for it again, Les."
I tell you what, Les, we're gonna do the opposite. Les, don't watch the show. We're gonna always tell you to not.
It's like
Yeah.
it's Velma bad.
um, I watched Mayor of Kingstown season 2 started up. I know y'all both are maybe making your way through that. I am a full on Taylor Sheridan stan at this point, apparently, because I really liked seeing that. I'm going to watch it week to week. I burned through all that a few weeks back, and it's really
I
good.
Kingstown isn't for me.
I feel like if Sopranos or like if right on the heels of those shows, instead of waiting for like the next show by that creator and getting like John from Cincinnati or something like a
Yeah.
year or two later, you just got 5 more shows that, you know, may not be exactly your thing, but are going to be basically the same Elmore Leonard. I mean, it's not Elmore Leonard, but in that same vein, like he's got a brand of crime that he writes, whether
Yeah.
it's in the Old West or the New West or Michigan, or he's got a CIA show coming out soon.
Yeah,
I
show
think.
Lioness. Yeah,
Lioness.
with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's going to be this same kind of worldview on the system being kind of fucked and
Yep.
and that kind of crime. And right now I'm here for it. It's a good steady diet of something to watch. I love it.
I also watched all of 1883 this week and really, really enjoyed it. That's a fucking dark show.
Man, a lot of people die. Rivers are deadly as fuck, yo.
Man, and that's the thing. It's like they're showing like Oregon Trail, the video game, is not as harsh as this
Damn.
is
Oh,
on
man.
the people.
Oh, that.
Yeah, and, like-
I mean, on the first day when like she looks up and like, hey, tell them to stop drinking the water. Who speaks their language? Someone tell them to stop drinking out of the
Yeah.
river.
But like, I wasn't prepared for how dark it got. Like
Oh,
like
man.
where it goes, I'm like, oh shit, you guys are really gonna just kill everybody, and it's like a misunderstanding that happens too. It is crazy.
Well, and there's some misdirects in 1923 on like who survives a little bit. If you haven't
Uh.
watched 1883, you don't necessarily know who's who.
Les, I love that your take on the 1883, the year itself, would be like a time traveler coming back and be like, dude, rivers are deadly as fuck, yo.
Yes. Yeah. No, it would be straight out of whatever that time travel show was with Adam Pally. Like, oh no, don't touch anything. Everything's
Yeah.
covered in shit. Don't touch your face.
Rivers and
Yeah.
rattlesnakes, man.
That
Rivers and
that smell
rattlesnakes.
that smell is just what things are.
Man, that Inquisition went ham, bro.
Oh man, when they cut his leg off, fuck.
Oh Jesus, that was rough. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I'm excited to watch 1923, and I'm probably gonna burn through the Yellowstone at this point. I'm like, man, Taylor Sheridan has not let me down yet, so I'm
I
gonna keep watching it.
I'm gonna give Yellowstone as much of a fighting chance as it can have. I'm gonna finish out 1923 before I jump forward. And
Yeah.
I gotta say, at this, there's a pause right now. There's no more 1923s until like
Right.
February 5th.
They're like midway through, right?
Yeah. So we're partway through, and it's great. I am honestly, I'm deeply hoping they jump another 40 years and give me a fucking 63. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
cheesy the cowboy clothes will be, but I'm here for it. Yeah, give me a weird period piece where like Redford wants to shoot something out there.
They got to be thinking it. They got to be thinking 63 to 73, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they got to be
dude,
thinking that.
If you're really bold, go forward. Do some cyberpunk bullshit.
Oh, see,
Come on,
I
man.
would watch. I would watch Dallas remake in 1983. I would watch Taylor Sheridan's 1983, and then I'm with you, man. I'd watch Galaxy Rangers. You can brave star this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
2073. Yep. And the other thing I watched this week, I say watched, I actually watched about 40 minutes and turned it off and discussed. Was it Golden Globe nominated, American Academy Award nominated, Banshees of Inisherin?
I've heard that is relentlessly sad.
What is
And
that?
So this is about Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson playing these guys, these Irish guys in a small town in
Oh.
Ireland.
It's like the In Bruges reunion.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and it's from the guy who made In Bruges.
Mm-hmm.
I liked In Bruges fine.
Yeah.
This was boring as shit. Maybe I'm just dumb, but Jesus Christ, I was 40 minutes of this fucking thing, and all I'd seen is 3 conversations between Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell about how they aren't friends anymore.
Yeah.
And how
I
it
saw
makes one of them
somebody was
sad.
like,
Like, what the fuck?
Why did I get put through an hour or an entire movie of Colin Farrell figuring out that he's not interesting?
I don't need that. Yeah, you know what I want? I want
I
to see
haven't
Colin
seen it.
Farrell as the fucking coach in The Gentleman. That's what I want. I don't want this shit. Yeah, I was angry at people because the premise sounded boring. It looked boring, and I'm like, wow, everybody's talking about how great this is. I'm gonna watch it. Maybe it's one of those things where I just don't get it. No, it's fucking boring.
It was beloved coming out of Fantastic Fest. Like the crew that saw it, and it may just be an event of like it being in the right half of the week for the right half of the fest or whatever.
Look, I would like to fight. I would like to fight everyone in the parking lot who told me to watch this movie. Fuck this.
Would you
fuck this
instead like to
movie.
have a conversation inside for an hour and a half about how you're not friends anymore over their opinion on this movie?
No, I'm gonna slap the shit on like the coach
Okay,
in
but
The Gentleman.
would you like a magic button where in any movie at any point you could hit it and Colin Farrell's character from The Gentleman would walk in and fix that fucking movie?
Yes, that I would like. That I would like.
Boys, fix it.
You fucking idiot.
And that is my
Clean
TV
his
diaries for
glasses.
the week, or my appetizers, whatever we're calling this. Shit.
Nick, you want to go?
Yeah, I will partake in my appetizers because I feel like that's what we wanted to switch over to that since it was the main course, but we're having a real hard time sticking with it. I watched Friday the 13th I should say I watched the Friday the 13th marathon from the Master Pancake guys. I just left that on in the background during last Friday. Just kind of be in the mood.
It's probably the easiest way to stream those movies on a given Friday the 13th.
It
You don't
is.
have
It's the only. It was the only way
Stars
I
or
could watch
whatever.
them because I don't have AMC. You can watch the remake on HBO, which is actually not bad. It's kind of like a mini movie of the first 3 all smashed together. I watched Escape the Field, which had Theo Rossi in it from Luke Cage and some other stuff. It was really the only reason I watched it because I like that guy, and that was a kind of like The Cube. They're stuck in a cornfield and they got to figure out a puzzle to work their way out of it. And it was okay. I think I had to do something else, and I think I had to talk to Les about something right before I finished it. And I was like, yeah, I feel like this movie is not going to finish in a way that is satisfying since I only have 20 minutes left. And then I went and finished it. And I was like, yep, they don't know what to do with the ending, just like Cube doesn't. I think that's what the problem is with any Cube ripoffs, is that Cube doesn't have an ending, so they don't know what to rip off.
I think it's funny that this movie is double ripping off because the same guy that directed Cube did The Tall Grass or Into the Tall Grass, the Netflix one.
Oh, I thought that
Uh,
was a Stephen King joint. Okay.
no, it's a Joe Hill thing, but he directed it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Stephen King Jr. thing.
Man, that guy loves puzzles and mazes and killing people in them. I finished off Tulsa King.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I I think there was like a couple things with like the cell for the his new family of criminals that basically that have won onto his side, even though he started by it like extorting them. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
some of that was a little bit of a hard sell, but the bar owner definitely makes sense. Bodie actually turns out like actually I steal way more money than this on a constant basis
Yeah.
via Bitcoin.
That reveal was great. He's like, "Did you think you were the only criminal in Tulsa?" That was so good.
Come on. Yeah, and yeah, some pretty intense shootouts and what they're doing with the mob, like the Cheeky, what is his name? Cheeky that takes over for his dad and he takes that hairpiece off.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. You know that's Herc from The Wire, right? That's where I
yeah.
Yeah.
know him from. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then he does his kingpin move where he takes the helmet thing off and just shaves.
Yep.
And I was like,
Yep.
okay, so you just like white suit, like your -1 white suit.
Chicky.
Icky, right.
Yeah, no, he just shorted Kingpins out.
Hmm.
By the way, I love that scene in Tulsa where he comes down with his capos and he's like, "Yeah, you're with me now," and the other guy's like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm coming with you." Like I love
Yeah.
that.
You
Basically, just
motherfucker!
he just slaps Chicky down hard. Like
Yeah.
that's just a kid to him. Like he doesn't give a shit who this kid is.
And that's a bit he's the consigliere. He's like
Yeah.
he's like the
Yeah.
second in
High up.
command.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of that is because Stallone's character curb stomped his other consigliere.
That's true. There was a vacancy. Uh
Was a vacancy, and he created it.
I like that every once in a while in dealing with the mob, like they'll have somebody that that you don't even know that well that'll just be in the background of a scene that'll be like, hey, wait, are y'all talking about knocking off the general? That's fucked up.
yeah,
Like
he's
you
a
every
made
once in a while
guy.
they'll remind you that like how deep Stallone's rep is. If you aren't in the the room of Chicky and them that are like, no, I grew up with this guy, fuck him. Like every once in a while you get reminded that Stallone's general reputation in the New York mob is still like,
He's a legend.
yeah, he's
He
a
was
legend.
Yeah,
Like he was a legend,
he
and
was
then
the
he
general.
went in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he was a legend before, and then he went in and did like quietly set and did his fucking life sentence nearly.
25 years or something. What was
Yeah,
it? And
something like
25
that.
years, yeah.
and like they I love that it's just no precedent. No one's ever done that amount of time. They don't know what
Yeah.
to do with him.
Yeah.
Like, and they sure as fuck don't expect him to be like spry and wanting his job back
Yeah.
Mhm.
at 76, 75.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
it was a really good show. Yeah.
But also the ending of it, I think, well, not to spoil too much, but with the how the FBI thing went, I thought that was a
Mhm.
weird note to end on. Like it made sense from her perspective, but for
Yeah.
him to be mad about it and surprised, I thought like, well, yeah, you lost, you were gonna cost her a job, and you thought it was okay because you were gonna give her a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That immediately would have been seized by the IRS because there's no, like, she would have had like a what was it? It was a huge, it was like $1 million or something, right?
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
it's in the Caymans. Like you've ruined her life. She's got to fucking vanish.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that amount of money is almost aggressive. Like it's an aggressive move of like,
Yeah.
yeah, she can't just take that and be a normal person. The cops know what's up.
As soon as she sees it, I was like, this isn't a gift. You made her an accessory.
Yeah,
Like that is
Yep.
an equal share. I'm in on the heist fucking money.
My only problem with that as a cliffhanger, though, is that we've seen him weasel out of so many things. All he has, I mean, he didn't give her anything.
No, I think I don't think he gifted it without still being okay on it somehow.
Yeah.
Like I think he's
I think he's gonna say, "What? I sent her a card. What are you talking about? There was a
Yeah.
USB in there. I
I don't
No.
know what you're talking about. I don't
What
know
are you
where that
talking
money
about?
came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
I
I'm
didn't do
sure
that.
that they're gonna try and play it up as a bribe, and she was
Yeah.
she was probably okay with that. Of like, cool, if you want to arrest him on that, you're probably not gonna hold him on it. But if you
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
arrest him on it, sure.
And maybe that's the play. Maybe she's like, well, we can all win. I mean, I know, like, I can get back in the good graces by turning it over, and I don't want it anyway. I know they can't make anything stick on you, so you're
Yeah.
gonna walk away from it. We'll both, like, by the end of this, you'll be free again, and the FBI and the feds will love me again. Well, tolerate
Yep.
her again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they.
She's pretty drunk in a lot of fucking scenes.
Oh yeah.
Well, we introduce her. What's she wearing? That sash that says "Shock Queen." Like, oh boy, yeah. I watched Dogs in Space. A couple more episodes. Garbage is officially back on the ship, and not as captain. He's low level. He's got to earn his way back.
Oh, thank God! I've been wondering what was happening with Dogs in Space.
It's pretty. It's pretty good. Stephanie Beatrice is like the straight man. She's like playing the Captain Holt of this as the numbers efficiency thing, and even she at one point goes when the plan goes so bad, she's like, "Well, I suggest we ask Garbage what he wants to do." What? That sounds. Yeah, but the problem with this is that any logical plan I have has a counter move on it, and Garbage is going to suggest something so goddamn stupid that I won't be able to calculate the efficiency on it, and that usually means that it's probably going to be better than the probabilities that I've done. I just love that canonically they just want him for his dumbass ideas. Uh, I watched Sea Beast, which is a movie
Yeah.
on Netflix.
It's great. It's one of my favorite movies of last year.
It's really good.
Right? Better than it had any right to be.
It's really good, and had not heard anything about it. The cast is
I
I don't
feel
great
even
like
know what
with
we're talking about.
I feel like it flew under everybody's radar, but it was so good.
well, it's very much a How to Train Your Dragon, but with pirates.
Yes, it is very much that. Yeah.
It's basically that, and it's pretty solid. Like the cinematography of it, like the actual fights via the giant monsters in the ship, are like super cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're like you wish Pirates of the Caribbean did this when they had like the Kraken like fight the ship. And
Check that out.
yeah, Carl Urban is the main guy in there. Has to hang out with this kid that meet like the. I love the little girl when she meets the first mate, the woman first mate that is like threatens to kill her, and is
Mm-hmm.
the entire threat is just like I no, you will wish I killed you. I want to do something so much worse. And looks up at her like, you are so cool.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna pull a Les. I'm gonna let Les talk about Jack Frost.
Yeah. So Nick and I, my terror of Christmas movies with Christmas Prince and stuff, we decided to watch the Michael Keaton. No, I'm sorry. We watched the other Jack Frost that came out a year apart from that one, the 1997, if you're having to look it up, I believe, Jack Frost, which is fucking spectacular. Holy crap. Just start to finish, that movie is an absolute gem. Just gold. Just every choice is fucking great. Yeah. I cannot believe I've never seen it. I remember the box art from every single video store I've ever worked at.
Yeah, the Lynn Trevor like the holographic thing where it would change his face.
Yep. And I for whatever reason, I've never sat down and watched that one. And I'm so glad that I made time for it. Holy crap. It is made for
It's for stupidly cheap. There's no
Oh, yeah.
no
guys-
snow in the fucking movie.
the same the writer of it ended up directing it simply because they did not have, like, I think he said in an interview, I never intended to direct that. Like, we did not have money to hire another person. And so I directed it. But the next thing he did was sell a script for the John Cusack movie Identity. And he's also said in interviews, like, I can't express enough. Any complaints you have about Jack Frost, we made that movie for less than the craft budget for Identity. So, like, all of this, like, they did shoot it in winter, but by fluke timing, it didn't snow that week at all. And so all of the snow is fake. Like, obviously fake. It is all, like, felt. You can see the string, like the wispies off of it. Like, or just really fake snow. Every building is trimmed with, like, Halloween decoration looking fake icicles. It's just wild. But it is vicious and bloody in a way that Krampus really should have been. Fucking great movie. I could not be more pleased with Jack Frost. Also watched, of course, Last of Us and Velma, which we'll discuss. Not necessarily in the same breaths. I've watched an up-and-coming little streaming network with, of course, the backing of Amazon and IMDb. Freevee. Freevee has some shit, y'all. I knew that they were where I was watching Night Court anyway, in prep for the Night Court comeback that we'll discuss, I believe, in a week or two.
Yeah, next week.
And so it's the place where I've been watching Night Court. And then I of course noticed that they are the place where they brought back Leverage, and with Noah Weil from Librarians, minus obviously any bigger names. And Aldous Hodge pops in and out because he's gotten a little too big. But I'd enjoyed Leverage on there. Well, now they've got a show from the creator of Raising Hope that's got Garrett Dillahunt and Martha Plimpton called Sprung, that is fucking hilarious. Like, it's like killing it. Like it's just one of those like,
Okay.
oh my god, this is so weird and so serialized and yet so batshit. So it's set in like February or March, I guess March or so of right after the shutdown. Like what was that, March 2020? And Garrett Dillahunt has gone into prison in 1994 for selling weed, mandatory minimums inside a school zone. He got 30 years.
Oh Jesus.
So he's been in prison for 26 years just for having a backpack of weed. So he's not a hardened criminal or anything, but he's been in prison for 26 years, and he and his cellmate and a bunch of other idiots get furloughed, or like not furloughed, their sentences commuted because they're nonviolent offenders because of COVID. And so like literally like they're handing them their shit and like, what why the fuck are we getting out? COVID. What the shit is COVID? Some idiot ate a bat. What? Yeah, hold your breath. Don't touch nothing. Don't touch your face. What? Like it's absolutely bananas. And then of course his roommate his cellmate is a complete idiot, and Martha Plimpton's his mom, and Dillahunt and another, like they literally like, okay, you guys all need to shelter in place. There's a shelter in place order. Like, you just took us out of prison. Well, you need to go to your homes. We don't have homes. Yeah, it's a head scratcher. All right, good luck.
That's a real puzzle you got there.
They all end up living with Martha Plimpton, who demands as payment for room and board that they become her crime gang, because everybody's like, it's a new economy, and like the first person they go rob is the dude that's hoarding toilet paper and selling it for cash. Like, and it just spirals out of control from there. It is Raising Hope bananas, along with this weird fish out of water of him having not been in society for 26 years, and then the pandemic. So like, all bets are off, and all these weird ass crazy like Charlie from It's Always Sunny, like super poor, insane plans are like salvation. You know, like no, I know how to work this system. Yeah, like we're in a half-ass redneck apocalypse. Cool. Martha Plimpton's just nuts. I said Martha. Yeah, Martha. Yeah. So Sprung over on Freevee is fucking hilarious. It's yeah. There's so many just odd. They are so like, it has an Idiocracy vibe in that Garrett Dillahunt's not the sharpest stick. He's just so much smarter than them. And they keep this running gag of him not being a good criminal, but he's been the nicest guy in a prison for 26 years. And he's mopped floors alongside everybody. So every time they run into some kind of problem, he's like, I can pick that lock. Like, or I can do that. And like, it is an almost Matrix level, like, criminal skill set that he like, I can, you can make chloroform from stuff under people's sinks. Hang on, hand me that bleach. I'm like, I thought you said you weren't a criminal. You pick things up. Yeah, I can't believe it. Fucking hilarious.
This is on Amazon for free, basically.
Yeah, it's through their Freevee channel. Whatever it's what they renamed IMDb TV.
Ah, okay.
I think. So yeah, it's also where Leverage Redemption is, but yeah, Sprung. I guarantee this isn't on anybody's radar because no one's checking Freevee for anything other than B movies.
What's crazy is Greg Garcia was like a big name. He did, like you said, Raising Hope. He did My Name is Earl. Like, it's weird that his big new show would be on Freevee.
I know. I feel like he did not read the fine print on getting a deal on Amazon.
It was originally pitched to Roku, and then or no, it was a Quibi show, and then the Quibi thing shut down. And
right, this deal started at CISO. Damn it, no.
Oh man, CISO! I'd forgotten CISO.
Yeah, so I saw a photo of somebody in a CISO shirt the other day and was like, "That's the name of it." I could not place it.
I don't even know what that is.
So I also watched the rest of 1883, which is fucking great, and then 1923 up till where we are, which is going great. I mean, it's not going great, but
it's good to watch. It's entertaining.
Great show. Yeah. I've also watched the first 2 episodes of Mayfair Witches, which is the continuation or the new show in the Immortal universe, like same universe as Lestat and vampire interview with the vampire. It is bananas weird. I feel like it is what the Swamp Thing show was trying to go for me.
Okay.
In terms of just New Orleans trippiness. They dive right in. Like you were definitely along for the ride on explanations with some of the characters on like clearly there's all this magic happening, but you don't know the rules, and it is part of the plot. Like this woman's at a severe disadvantage for not knowing what the fuck is going on when clearly these are old organizations either trying to get her to get more magical and more witchy, or the side of her family that knows that this is a bad deal and seems to want to keep her out of it. I'm not really sure who the real villain is. Like there's Beth Grant and like the side of kind of the prudy side of the family that's like, no, quit making deals with the fucking devil. and they are definitely coming off as villainous, but I'm pretty sure that they are the characters in the show. It's going to be like Skylar and Breaking Bad. Like you'd be looking back at the end going, yeah, you know, you never wanted to listen to her. She was no fun, but she was right the whole time. Yeah, so I'm digging it so far. It's fucking weird. I hope they get to continue this odd kind of world they're building. The tone is neat. I'd like to see it go further. Have kept up on Ghost, which is fucking great. I'm so glad they're making more, or that season's continuing. I watched the 2-part finale of Night Court, not the thing Kenneth shot in 30 Rock, but the actual 2-part finale of Night Court, which, man, channels have been messing with shows since time immemorial. Long before Firefly was run out of order, there's just weird stuff. Night Court had a 2-part finale that wraps up like where the characters are going. Like it's literally like what's Harry's next job, what's Mac's next job, what's all like where's everyone going. Christine wins a congressional seat in New York. Like it's all like a big ending. And then NBC ran one extra episode that they had from the season.
Oh no!
From like 2 months prior, just dropped it on the end. Just the boat show episode, just right there. Just whatever. Yeah. No character arcs, nothing.
Oh wow.
But I also watched the first 2 of the new Night Court, and we'll discuss next week. I watched Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You because I love those movies. Watched some Leverage Redemption. Watched one episode of The Offer, even though I just rewatched The Offer because Fanny had it on, and that show's like The Godfather itself, infinitely rewatchable. You can watch any 40 minutes of The Offer, the same way that you can watch any 40 minutes of The Godfather, and then wander out of the room again and be entertained. And that's it for me.
All right. Well, just a reminder that you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the OGL 1.1, which, if you don't know anything about that, there's a whole controversy you know nothing about that we're going to spin about it in Patreon this week. And if you do know about it, man, there's still stuff to unpack. It is crazy what all's going on in that world.
Man, I needed a history lesson to get on with that one. It's good. I have questions for you, Randy, for sure.
Oh, we'll get to it. We'll get into it. So yeah, that's our Patreon exclusive for the week. All right, let's jump into our main course for the week. Let's talk Last of Us over on HBO Max, which I want to start this by asking, have either of y'all played any of this game?
Yes.
No.
I played it a couple times. I love it.
So you played all the way through it, Nick?
Yep.
Okay. So we have, just like as with the OGL stuff, we've got a disparate range here. So Les has played none of it. I played enough of it. I got to a point where I got stuck, and one of those giant mushroom zombies kept killing me, and I didn't have enough, and I'd saved in a bad place, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm never playing this game
You
again."
didn't have
I really
enough
liked
ammo
the game
for a bloater. No.
Yeah. So that was it, and so
what you need to do is you save your Molotov cocktails for that. That's for sure. But
exactly, and I didn't have enough, and that was it. I was just like, "Fuck this!" I played it over and over again until finally I just quit. So I think the first episode encapsulates pretty much everything I've seen of the game so far. So everything from here on out is new to me. I thought this was a really strong pilot.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I think it does a lot of the same stuff that like Walking Dead and every other post-apocalypse show does, which does mean that to some extent I was like, okay, this is good, but are we gonna wind up on a farm for a season again? And I think I know that we're not. I think knowing that there's interesting stuff coming ahead is what has me interested in the show.
Well, if you play the cutscenes from the game, just straight through, which you can on YouTube, there's people that just do that to watch the Last of Us movie because it's said is one of the better stories in video games had. It comes out to about 5.5 to 6 hours. So
Okay. Yeah.
it comes out to an HBO miniseries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, yeah, the what works about this pilot is that they change almost nothing from that opening.
Yeah.
They add stuff that I feel is unnecessary, like the John Hannah talking about fungus.
Oh, I disagree about that being unnecessary. I thought that was a phenomenal way to open.
Yeah, that opening worked for me. Having not played the game and not really knowing what the fuck, that set it up nicely.
That was a great taste setter and and tone setter. I thought that was really, really good and really cool.
Hmm. I think for me, I think it would have been neater if we would have seen a regular zombie thing, and then we saw fungus and if you were uninitiated, you'd be like, "Whoa, wait, what's going like what's different about this virus?" Like,
I
and
th-
it's not a
I think
virus, it's fungus.
I think a portion of people. I mean, I had it spoiled for me that it was fungus, but I was definitely looking for anything. Having not played the game and honestly, that being a chip against like a strike against it,
Yeah.
I needed something that wasn't standard zombie earlier. So
Yeah,
like
I agree.
opening with this isn't going to be a zombie plague helped me.
I think that was really smart.
Because otherwise, I think there's people like me that would have bailed 2 episodes in, going, "I've saw Walking Dead."
I've seen Walking Dead, yeah, and it was disappointing. Yeah, I think that was a very smart move, and also I just thought it was a really good scene. It was completely original. It wasn't that wasn't in the
No,
video game at all.
no,
And
it's
Yeah, I don't know what's where.
I thought it was a really good. It felt real. It felt like the kind of Dick Cavett kind of talk shows we get. And I thought having Big Head be Dick Cavett and the I forget who and the guy from the Mummy as
John
the
Hannah.
scientist. Yeah, John Hannah. Like that was great. I love seeing a little bit of them. So.
Yeah. It felt for me like, okay, here's a character we're never going to see again. And for me, I would rather just get right into it. And then they do this. I was telling Les, like, in the game, they start from her giving him the watch that she's fixed.
They could have picked up from there for me.
And nothing, all that previous stuff the show does, where they show her go, like, they have breakfast, she goes in to fix the watch, they set up some stuff. I'm like, I know all of this is unnecessary because I've seen this exact scene play out beforehand and didn't need this part for it to be effective.
Interesting.
So it was one of those things of like, "Ah, come on, let's go." Like,
It's interesting. The slow burn worked for me. I actually really liked these sort of like I needed to see the normalcy so that we had that stark difference when we jump 20 years ahead and just see
oh,
how
see,
bad things have
I
gotten.
don't. I feel like for a zombie apocalypse thing, like I know what a normal city feels like. I know what a
Yeah.
normal thing is. Get to the
They could have gone shorter with the normal for me. I'm glad they had a little bit. I mean, I needed to see some of the. I'm glad they didn't just start like Destiny style, like in the post apocalypse. I didn't know that there was going to be a time jump coming,
Yeah.
and I find it weird that they literally just split the difference. Like we need an actor to play 2 different ages. Well, what if we just get a person that's not either of those ages?
yeah.
Because Pedro Pascal's 46, I think, and he's playing
Mhm.
a 36-year-old in the first of it, and then it's 20 years later. Because I was like, man, you don't look like you're in your 30s, and then I'm like, hey, you also don't look like you're in your 50s.
Well, they gray up his hair a little bit
You
less.
look like
Come
you're in
on,
your
what do you
40s to
want?
me, man. Yeah, they grayed his hair up a little.
What what did you want him to be in a full body armor with a mask over him that he can never take off?
I honestly, I didn't think we were going to do a time jump. I thought that was a little. I
Yeah.
didn't see that as necessary. And honestly, 20 years is a long time.
Well, I like this. Here's the thing I think about the time jump is interesting. We have and then I think this will be very important. Joel has he knows what normal life looks like. Ellie has never known anything but this. We were 10 years into this world or
Mhm.
so
When she got
when
born,
she
yeah.
got born. So yeah, so and then by the way, showing that kid, I don't think this was in the game. The bit with the kid who comes in and is like they're like, "Oh, yeah, after you get this shot, we're going to give you ice
Oh
cream
yeah,
and all the toys."
Oh
And the
man,
next time we see
we're
him,
just gonna give you a little bit of medicine to fix you. Yeah,
that was dark as fuck.
I was watching with somebody else and we saw the shoes. We're like, wait a minute, what is that? The holy shit!
Shit.
Like, what a great way to indicate just how ruthless the Fedra
hmm
is.
yeah. All of
Yeah.
that. I mean, most of this worked for me. I was really surprised. I had no other than the like obligatory. I am a nerdy dude in my 40s and I'm supposed to like sci-fi video game adaptations of things. Like I felt obligated to watch this show and I'm not interested in it. And that pilot was really solid. I still
Yeah.
don't know that I'm going to care enough about it long term, but it turning into Sweet Tooth real early on helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Anna Torv and Pedro Pascal going on Sweet Tooth journey to take this kid. Like it's Z Nation, but less silly.
Well, the time jump is also necessary because there needs to be a significant amount of time for Joel because you saw Joel. It does a great job of showing who Joel is as a person before he loses his daughter and how fucking cold that dude is.
Yeah.
And then this is 20 years later of that same dude getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah.
Les, you were telling me that one of your favorite scenes was him driving over those two dudes in the cul-de-sac to get out.
Yeah, he just hits the motherfuckers with his truck. Like, nope, I know the score already.
Boom.
Those are mold zombies.
Yelling at Diane or whatever her name is to stay in the house.
Oh yeah, Denise is or whatever his name, across the street neighbor.
And we see I love that background shot of we see her go to the people he just ran over, like, oh my god, and she obviously gets nailed.
That worked as well as Snyder's Dawn of the Dead opening for me. Like that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
honestly, it being set in Austin was not cool.
Y'all, this is set in Austin and then Boston, where my kid lives.
But like at least Boston's like a post-apocalypse. It doesn't look like Boston to me.
Yeah.
But when he was trying to escape and they're hitting traffic, and I'm like, so that's how I'll die. So this is just a really nicely shot.
Die in traffic.
Like I'm gonna die trying to fucking drive a Camry across open fields next to a fucking row of Christmas lights down 35.
And then that plane comes in, and I love that it just triggers that 9/11. Like, that plane's too low.
Oh, that's too low.
Oh man, that was that was really good. The post-apocalypse stuff I really like. They got the voice actress who played his ex. I forget, Marlene. Yeah. She actually was the voice actress. She plays the character. I watched the behind the scenes stuff at the end, which I thought was really good.
Oh, cool.
And so I thought her character, who clearly is not going to be an ongoing character, but she really established herself well and does a lot with the part that she's got here.
Yeah.
They I know there's people excited about this. Video game's been out for a while. Like, we don't know what they're going to change, but it's hard to be spoilery about it because the game's been in existence for a while.
Right.
But whatever the fuck clickers are, which are mold people monsters that are clearly they're fungus people.
Yeah,
I know what clickers are.
That's also the thing with the time jump less is that as the fungus grows, the zombies get tougher and more dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's cool.
So the outside world only gets more dangerous, not less dangerous.
Yeah.
And they so I dig the Area 51ness of seeing it just get worse and worse and worse. Video game, not the place. But I saw somewhere that they got the voice actors from the game that did whoever did the creepy whatever the fuck clickers sound like in the game. That's what they're gonna sound like.
Yeah, man. The clickers are scary as shit when you're playing that game. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing more of it. I also liked this whole thing of like the military taking over. The Walking Dead was very much about how things had gone to shit. It was anarchy, and you had these like individual little cells. This is probably more realistic. It is a bit of like, no, there's a fascist government, but everyone accepts fascism because the alternative to fascist governance is being eaten by mushroom zombies.
I'll be real, I'm not super sympathetic to the Fireflies.
The Fireflies.
Like, I'm sorry, but man, fuck you people.
Well, it's different because it would be different if the zombie apocalypse was over and the Fedra didn't give up their power.
If they seem to have any control over it at all.
Right.
Like there's that the thing with the kid and the medicine shot and the all the toys shows me that they have no solution.
Yeah.
Like you don't have even anything to spray me with hoping you just look at a cut and then look at me and then you have somebody do that for 30 minutes and then you shoot me in the head.
Yeah, that's it.
There's no handle on it, and like there's no what are the Fireflies going to do? Like, well, democracy and stuff, like, cool, but you're still going to have curfews and checkpoints.
And people won't vote for it. We will all die.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, you can't do that right now. I'm sorry.
Like all this stuff, all the military stuff they do is necessary for this fucking like you can't walk around drunk in the middle of the night, stumbling around. People are going to shoot you.
Nope.
Like thinking you're a zombie. Like, so you need a curfew. There's just things that like it's one of those like, it sucks, but also
let's take a vote on everything. No.
Can't take a. And also I love that great storytelling by one, we see how cold Joel is before the time jump. And then before we
Mhm.
even see, like, before we see him really talk to anybody, we see Tess caught by the other guy, and he's
Yeah.
scared to death of what Joel's gonna do.
I love that he's terrified that his guy roughed her up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like her. Anna Torv is
Oh,
great
she's
here,
great.
and I love that she's in control of that whole situation. Like, she's tied to a chair, and she's still like, "You guys are so fucked."
Yeah.
Like, "I'm
Just let me
I'm
go.
I'm trying to help you here. Let
I'm
me
trying to help you
go.
here. Come
You're
on.
all gonna die."
Well, I'm scared of he works for me. Just
Yeah.
and then I love when she looks at him like, I promised him that you wouldn't hurt him, but I want you to hurt him.
Yes, I like that too. She's
Yeah.
like,
But I'm a liar, so
now from the game, she's not a character, right? Isn't the game just Joel and Ellie?
nope. Tess is a big character in the game.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just Joel and Ellie the whole time. Okay, that's
No,
interesting to know. Okay.
and it's the same thing that Joel is her heavy. He's a goon. Like, he's not really in
Okay.
charge.
Okay. All right.
And Tess is the one that does the deals, and because Joel doesn't want to take a kid across country, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But Tess is like, nah, nah, they're offering us, plenty of cards or and then supplies or whatever is valuable in the
Right.
world now. Batteries.
And then Bella Ramsey as Ellie. I mean, she was phenomenal in Game of Thrones. I know, as you know,
Oh,
Les, from the
as
Game of
Lady Mormont,
Thrones.
baby.
Yeah, I mean, she's like a 10-year-old who stands down a room full of these old men and is like, basically she had presence.
Hmm.
And so seeing her here as this kid who is chained to a radiator and isn't super worried about it, is just kind of pissed about it. She's great in this role.
Well, I also love that it must
Yeah.
have been a great, like, there's definitely a conversation behind the scenes of like, the swearing was great, Ramsey. You can't say cunt like you did in Game of Thrones. That doesn't play with an American. I know you said it a lot, but
Won't land the same.
it
No.
doesn't land the same way. And yeah,
Yeah.
her being immune is basically the finding the pregnant chick in Children of Men of like, fuck.
Mhm.
Now everyone that has an agenda is going to be after this girl. Like, she's suddenly become the most valuable thing on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this. From what I've seen, Alan Sepinwall talked about it, and he sort of had a dance around his the block he had. He couldn't talk about it just yet, but he basically said he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be talking about this every week, and that should tell you how much I liked it, even though I can't tell you specifics. And he's like, and I think the first episode does a lot of the same stuff we've seen from zombie shows, but it gets real different real fast. So I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, same.
I like the setup. They know what to leave alone from the game and what to change to
Yeah.
keep, because they basically shorten up the whole like finding the smuggler, and there's a whole scene where like they actually catch that guy and Joel and Tess torture him to death, but but they like,
Like, we don't need to see that. Yeah. Yeah.
we got it across to how afraid they are of him, so like let's just cut to the Firefly thing and combine
Yeah.
those two stories.
Seeing that would have made Joel look. I mean, like, how much do you want me to not like this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're supposed
Yeah.
to
I think.
slowly learn that how bad of a dude he is over time
Yeah.
is what the story is like. Oh, you are a, like, I think you said less. He's not a good person. He's effective. He's an effective
Yeah.
person.
Well, it's honestly, it's 20 years deep in an apocalypse that I kind of have a hard time believing that anybody made it 20 years without catching this. I mean, like, we didn't make
Right.
it 20 years without we've all had COVID at some point.
Yeah.
Like, how did you keep from ever getting an open cut ever for 20 years while
Well,
doing manual labor every day?
and this is, I hated that they added the thing with the her going to the hospital in the beginning, because I know it confused you less because it made you think it was airborne, and
Yeah. They
it's
talked
not.
about it being in the city, and then they never discuss how they get it again, but it's
Yeah.
apparently dangerous as shit. But he's doing construction manual labor, touching the bodies of the infected, like, every day in burn pits where they're standing at, like, I'm pretty sure you can't just burn fungus and it not still be in the smoke, right?
Well, it's
Or
one, you
can you?
can't,
I don't
like,
know.
no, it's the spores that infect you. And when a zombie gets like stuck, like you saw the one guy, like they should have had their masks on during that, but I guess Pedro Pascal will never put a fucking mask on again. But
That's that one wrong show, bro.
because again, I was like, okay, that's supposed to have spores leaking out of it, so you're both like infected already. But
Yeah, and that's why I think he says, I think this one's done. Like, you
Spores
think? Man, it's
spores
20
only
years deep
go
for you
so
think.
far, and you can see them. You can see visually see them, and then it's via bite or infection after that. Like there's no airborne version of it.
Yeah.
So the only way to get it is a pretty violent death or choke to death.
Also, when people had COVID, we weren't taking them out and shooting them or throwing them in burn pits. So they're a little more extreme on the prevention measures than we were.
And if you've got
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
violently attacked or a spore cloud, it seems like you don't need Fedra quite like this then.
Right. And that may be where the Fireflies have a point. Like, hey,
Yeah.
guys, you're a little hardcore on this, and maybe we could chill out a little bit.
And later in the game, you do see other territories and other factions, and all of them usually have their problems and are sucky. But you do find one where you find his brother later,
Yeah. Yeah.
and his brother runs in a pretty decent community. It's smaller,
Okay.
but it kind of works.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to more of this. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
She's the brains of the gang, Mr. Ink brought her fame. Glasses and a skirt, wears a turtleneck shirt and says Jinkies.
Jinkies, like they must be talking about our Velma. Yep, Velma Dinkley.
She's found another clue. Velma, she's lost her glasses. Velma Dinkley on Scooby-Doo.
On the opposite end of things is Velma over at HBO Max.
Well, I suppose HBO is like either we want everyone to love us or hate us, but we want them to talk about us.
Yes.
I didn't hate this, but
Yeah,
I
neither
also
did I.
I would have been perfectly happy to have never seen
I
it.
feel like you came onto the podcast saying this was a piece of shit.
It is a piece of shit. I do think it's terrible. I got zero laughs out of this whole thing. And the thing is, like, I've seen comparisons like they were trying to do the Harley Quinn thing. If that's what they were trying to do, they failed miserably. Because Harley Quinn I should hate, and I really like. This, I have zero attachment to Scooby-Doo. Zero. I don't care about Scooby-Doo. It is not a sacred cow for me or a sacred dog or whatever he is. I don't care. You can do whatever you want. Reveal that Velma raped Scrappy Doo and left him in a pit. I don't care.
Jesus.
But I didn't, on its own merits, I found this grating. I hated every character in it. I thought that their attempts to make these characters like edgy and different did not land. And like I say, I did not laugh once. And the whole thing of her mystery of her mom disappearing and like the mythology they've invented isn't interesting. And it's a waste of a voice cast. Like Mindy Kaling as Velma, Glenn Howerton playing a Glenn Howerton version of Fred, Sam Richardson as Norville, who's clearly their Shaggy. Jane Lynch and Wanda Sykes are in here as the lesbian mom detectives. Like there is a great voice cast here, and none of them are giving anything to work with.
I don't know. I got some laughs out of it. I thought the second episode was a little better than the pilot. There's two, right?
I get second episode.
And yeah, the mom mystery's fine. I feel like a lot of times they do what a lot of shows are doing. They want the joke both ways. Like they want me to care about the mom, but they also kind of allude that the mom was a pretty heavy like.
Yeah.
Like I'm not certain the mom didn't just go out for cigarettes, not come back. But and I believe Norville's actually Shaggy's real name. In the original series.
Okay.
But yeah, I like the thing of Norville. How they're I like how they're playing the Shaggy never really doing drugs in the original, but then that becoming a like thumb nose in the 90s movie, 2000s movie of like, oh yeah, we've always known Shaggy was a stoner. I kind of like the split take of he's a hero to stoners because he's super into snack foods and weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he personally can't stand stoner culture. It makes me think of like Robert Heinlein that wrote Stranger in a Strangeland was beloved by hippies and kind of a fascist.
Well,
Yeah.
also I that's a setup that I think, yeah, that structure is funny. And sometimes it works, but really what they should have done is because he's kind of a fuck boy, like into Velma, and she laughs him off pretty viciously. And I'm like,
it's
well,
harsh.
wouldn't the funnier thing be it's like the taco episode of The League where he's actually the most competent person. He's very like, but he'll get inevitably he's gonna get drawn into the drug culture, and then that's gonna make him a buffoon. Like, shouldn't the joke be that he's the most competent, a pretty normal dude, like, and not a I don't know.
Yeah, because at some point he's going to be a scaredy cat, and yeah.
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 And so I just thought like there's a bunch of things here where the joke it feels that's one of those jokes where at least it feels that the Scooby Doo moniker feels like that's what they're making the joke off of. The rest of it feels kind of like it's been skinned from another show, and the Scooby Doo skin has been like switched out.
I feel like the most valid thing I've seen for this in complaints about this is like this did not need to be a Scooby Doo show at all.
No,
This
it did
could
not, for
just
sure.
be a show. And to the like, well, it has to have an existing IP. Nope. You can be Justin Roiland, and you can get Solar Opposites, Rick and Morty, and whatever the shit Koala Man is off the ground
Right.
while moving forward on your court case.
I was gonna say, don't be Justin Roiland.
But Les, what's the difference between Justin Roiland and Mindy Kaling? I don't understand.
Yeah, I can't put my finger on it. Yeah. Yeah. What could be the difference? Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it drives me nuts that this. I don't think this needed to be necessarily Scooby Doo. That said, I don't believe Scooby Doo is fucking sacred. Like, and I grew up watching it. I'm old. Like the Scooby Doo, Casey Kasem, Scooby Doo. And this is just fine. Like, this is not any more or less funny than half the sitcoms that are. I mean, half the animated sitcoms that are on TV for me. I do think animation's too expensive to try this hard. But I'm sorry. I wanted this level of hate for Housebroken.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this show's okay. Velma's fine. I'm probably gonna watch another Velma. Like, I got a couple of chuckles out of it. It might get better.
It's
I want to see where
interesting.
they go with that Shaggy joke.
But like Housebroken,
I agree with you. I agree with you about Housebroken, but I disagree with you about Velma. I believe that Housebroken and Velma are on exactly the same level.
Okay. The level of hate on the internet for this show has been astonishing.
And did you see all the hate before you watched it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that probably had an effect. That probably lowered your
oh, it definitely did.
Yeah,
like, I went into it going, so I'm sorry, does it like,
yeah,
is it gonna like chuck, like, am I gonna glue to the screen like the fucking intersect Flash, and then suddenly I have Eternal Sunshine? I no longer have childhood memories of the original Scooby-Doo. Like, they're just gone.
I think the reason, because you were always going to have
No, it didn't do that.
Conservative backlash of like, why are you race swapping a beloved childhood property of mine?
If they're pandering, I don't know the fuck to who.
Those
None of it lands.
Those articles were written before the show came out, so you're really depending on the progressive audience that you should be leaning towards. But there's weird joke structures in here that can't really tell what the joke is. If it's progressive, it's not landing that way.
Her Me Too joke.
Her Me Too joke is weird.
So fucking weird. If that's sarcasm, it does not hit the landing at
like,
all.
I spit truth like every comedian before Me Too. Well, and then me and Les both came up with funnier versions of that joke of like okay, well, have Louis C.K. from outside a window say, "Preach, brother," and she go, "You are not helping me."
But yeah, like, I don't know. There's a lot of spots where the joke, you can kind of see what they were going for, but it doesn't. I don't know, it just doesn't quite land. It's yeah. I'm interested to see where it goes. I was definitely going to watch anything that created that much fucking vehemence on the internet. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, settle down, people. It's not the OA.
It definitely made me think that Harley Quinn it could have easily been, wow, like what a daredevil move Harley Quinn is, of like how well written that show is. And I'm thinking that if Scooby-Doo, if they leaned into the Scooby-Doo-ness of it, and like I watched New Pup Scooby-Doo, so if they actually just had a character that was Red Herring from New Pup,
yeah,
or just had call-outs to all the other, if they kept running into Old Man Smithers, like that runs, like everyone is going to be like, ends up like, oh, are all the creepers and people they chase down from this original town, have like all those be references for people to hunt down, so you have articles of like, here's all the things you missed in this fucking Scooby-Doo or the Velma pilot. I don't know, it feels like an unforced error, or maybe an intentional, like, we're gonna do that to make people mad about Scooby-Doo, which I think is a weird move. But
I'm interested to know if there's anything we've learned from the last few moves at HBO, is that clearly nobody in charge cares what they look like. They're just looking at spreadsheets. Like, this is Barry Lapidus all day long, right?
Yeah.
So if everybody hates it, is this the Howard Stern effect of like, well, people who love him listen for an hour, people who hate him listen for 2.5 hours? Like everybody.
Well, we thought that for Cowboy Bebop, and that ended up not being the case.
Yeah. I'm wondering if like they're going, nope, this is as long as we expected you to last, and this is the biggest possible bump we could get you for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real, the longevity on a Scooby-Doo project was never going to run.
Right. Yeah. This is all they're doing our producers.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. If for me it depends on, I guess, Mindy Kaling and her writing style, because I guess I just don't feel like, since she wrote her like basically herself in as Velma, I just don't feel like
Yeah.
she had a big, what do you call it, connection to the character, or like a real story to tell with this. Like, at least it
No,
doesn't
I
feel
would
like
assume
it.
that you did this because you obsessively love Velma, and I don't know that that's really the case here. I think they just got this property, it seems like. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It does not seem like they had a huge attachment to it. Yeah.
And in a way that, I mean, not that Harley Quinn's not doing a piss take of everything sacred in the DC
Right.
universe.
Right.
Yeah, but they obviously know enough about it to do a codpiece joke.
Yeah, somehow Harley Quinn makes it work in a lower decks kind of way of like, okay, you're making fun, but also you clearly love the shit out of everything in the DC universe, even the dumb stuff.
Yep.
Or you wouldn't make fun of it. And I feel like there's times where, or there's a lot of time where Velma is laughing at Scooby-Doo. And maybe that's what's pissing
In teen
Scooby-Doo
movies
fans off.
and
Though
high
I have
school
a hard
stuff.
time believing there are real Scooby-Doo fans. I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
I do like Wanda Sykes and Jane Lynch as the dumb cops that are like, keep forgetting her mother is gone. Like,
And they're just terrible. You think what I'm thinking? You want a sheet cake? High five.
a high five. Yeah.
Hey, baby, you want sheet cake? Oh, the baby pushing out of her stomach for the photos. I liked that. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, her stepmom or whatever.
Yeah. Velma.
I guess that wraps it up for us this week. We'll be back next week with more. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Nick.
Rich dudes.
Thanks to HBO Max for making the best and worst. Best and worst and best and worst. And they
Here's
cleared
the
out
thing.
all of that middle road space, like everything that was possibly in the middle between best and worst. They just canceled or got rid of. So it made lots of space.
Here's the thing: we still know Welcome to Flash season 2 exists, so it's not worse than that. And we know that I think How I Met Your Father is still on.
Yes,
I think
got renewed. I
Velma's
believe.
already been greenlit for season 2. I'm pretty sure. So,
And there's gonna be another show that is as bad as the stuff that was on our bottom of our list, and it will not be Velma. Velma's gonna land solidly in the middle of the TV Dudes thing.
Guarantee from 2024 we will look back and wish that Velma was the worst thing we saw this year.
Yeah, I agree. There's gonna be worse shit coming up.
I don't know what it'll be. There will be worse than Velma.
Reminder, you can check us out at patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us that $1 an episode, and go listen to our Patreon this week as we talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the OGL, which is not a kid's book, even though it sounds like it. And until next time.
Did we even talk about how young everybody is and how sexualized that show is? Anyway,
Mhm.
TV Dudes out!
TV dudes.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.